All right, I think y'all believe me now when I tell you San Diego State's a pretty good football team. I did get a chance to watch them on TV Friday because I was recruited, but I did get in the hotel room to see the end of the third quarter and end of the fourth quarter, and was very impressed with what I saw. Obviously, I've watched them a bunch up to this point, and then watched that game. The thing that sticks out to me about San Diego State and their team, they're very well coached. They are very, very physical on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they're going to try to establish the run. They run a lot of gap schemes, power, zone, counter, and then they'll take their shots, play action, and then they can spread you out too and give you some spread looks. Quarterback has done a nice job this year of throwing to the right guys, being very accurate, got a high touchdown to interception ratio, and then it starts with number 19, Pumphrey, lead rusher, runs very hard, very physical, has great vision, and then he might be their leading receiver. He's one of their best receivers out of the backfield. Their offensive line looks like an NFL line as far as size and length. Very physical at the point of attack, can run and pass block. Defensively, very, very good defensively. Do a great job of tackling, do a great job of running a number of different schemes to get you a little bit confused offensively. They are very aggressive at the corner position. Their linebackers do a nice job of blending between 3-4 and 4-3. And play violent and aggressive on defense, and one of the top defenses in the league. So it's a big, big challenge for us offensively and defensively and in the kicking game this Saturday. But, it's one of those challenges that you look forward to as a player. Questions?
Glad you're going into this game after the bye week versus coming right off the bat, or would you like to kind of carry that momentum?
No, I think I might have said this last week. I think if you didn't have a bye week, you'd be talking about, hey, we're going to keep the momentum. If you got a bye week, you're going to spin it the other way. Hey, we're going to get a chance to get rested and, hold in on these guys. But I do think that, 7 games, it was time for us to have a bye week. We had good practices last week for 3 days, had good meetings, got a jump start on San Diego State, and hopefully we'll come back today ready to practice. I always worry about a Monday off of 3 days off, but we got to be a mature football team and go out and have a great practice today.
How nice was it to get that extra time to study San Diego State's defense?
It hadn't made it any easier, because they're good. Schemes are one thing, but it's how you play those schemes, and they play their schemes very well. They do a really good job at it, but I thought as far as identification and us settling on a plan, it was good, because sometimes not to the end of the week till you really figure a team out. We got a better feel for them as coaches, but, it's not what we understand, it's what our players understand. So we got to see what we understand and what we can execute this week and go out and so we can execute on Saturday.
It's always been, I guess, unique for the Mountain West, but you and Will, have you seen anything like it in your style?
No, a little bit of Joe Lee Dunn back when I was a player, but not recently. There's always one or two every year that's a little bit different that causes some problems. But it's a lot of moving around, a lot of moving parts, guys play in different positions. But the thing that I'm really impressed with is how sound they are. They're in the right gaps. They're playing the right leverage. They do a nice job in that. Sometimes when you play teams that, do a lot of unconventional stuff as far as guys standing at 2-point, 3-point, and a lot of movement, sometimes they're not as sound in some areas, but this team's very, very sound in the run and the pass. They do a lot of the movement and blitzing backers and still play a two-shell. A lot of times when you see a two-shell, you think, hey, you're going to be able to run the ball, but they do a nice job of blending both of those.
The hardest things is just ideaing what each guy's doing, because some of those guys, as you said, they might be a down lineman one play
Right.
back, or the next play, maybe that fifth DB almost the next play.
It's the identification, and and it's it is a good thing that, Boise, Utah State, Air Force were all three-down teams, so now this is our fourth game in a row of playing a three-down team. Now, they're a lot different than those guys, but it still is a three-down concept of identification. And it's all, and we're a four-down, 4-3 team, and it takes a little while, whether you play against a 3-4 team or you practice against a 3-4 team and then go against a four-down team. Sometimes it's a little bit different for your guys. So I am glad that this is the fourth week of that. It's a little bit different, but the identification of how we identify guys will be similar.
Were you able to get healthy this week?
Well, I hadn't seen them yet, but I think so. We were able to rest some guys that needed rest. The two that come to my mind on defense were the two safeties. They needed some rest and got some good reps, but not a ton of reps. Oden is another guy offensively that comes to mind of was able to get some rest. Jake Bennett was able to get a little bit of rest, rotation with Kevin O'Brien. So, we ought to feel good today. I hope we walk in this place, excited about the opportunity that we have this week, playing an undefeated team in the conference, big game at home, and we're rested and rejuvenated and energized when we hit the field. That's what you hope as if your team's player led. So that's what I'm expecting today. And if it's not, then our job of coaches is to get it out of them. Well, nobody's really been able to contain him because he's going to get his touches. Running backs, sometimes a little easier to get a guy touches and carries, and he does a nice job. And they're committed to the run. They're committed to what they're doing. And they play good defense, which backs that up, meaning they get the ball back for their offense a lot. And the offense is able to stay patient. We just got to do a good job of playing on our gaps, doing our job. It's not the same type of style as we played last week, but again, it comes back to doing your job. And realize that he's going to break a tackle or he's going to get, they're going to pop a run, but we got to get him on the ground and we can't allow the explosive play, a 10 to 15-yard run to turn into a 65-yard run.
Mike, with 5 games to go, obviously, people start looking at postseason possibilities. Do you talk bowl possibilities with your team at all?
No, they know how many wins you got to get to go to a bowl. They know where everybody is as far as conference play. We talk about what we got to do this week to earn the right to win on Saturday, and what a competitor does or a champion is every day they're trying to compete to be the best, and every time they have an opportunity, they're at their best, and they expect their opponent to be at their best. But no, we're going to talk about this is the second half of our season. This is the first game of that season, and we got to continue to do what we've been doing week in and week out, and that's getting better and putting ourselves in a position to win on Saturday.
What's the last time you played? Did you really feel good that you corrected some things, made maybe for the first time in a while a big step in terms of becoming a better team?
Well, I felt that, before a lot of the games, but I did feel good going into last week that we had good practices. The guys understood what we were doing that week, and it was ultimately we put it, say, hey guys, we got to go out and execute this. Players got to go out and play on the field. Coaches coach, players play. Let's go out and play and execute the plan, and they took it upon themselves and did their job, which was good to see.
Practices leading up to that Air Force game. Could you and the coaching staff get the feeling? I mean, did you sense that? Was it really a lot better than the practices had been earlier, or not?
Well, I'm always a little pessimistic, but some of the coaches were feeling positive that, hey, we got it, we understand, we have good practices, we're going to play really well. And I did feel that way about Nick Stevens. I know I mentioned it last week that I thought he had his best practice of the year that week. It was very crisp, very sharp, and, thought he was going to play extremely well.
Practices earlier this year, though, where you thought you had a good week, and then on game day you're like, what happened?
Yeah, but you have some good and some bad. You never, sometimes you go out there and you think you've had your best. A lot of times your best Thursday you've ever had, played terrible on Saturday. We had the worst Thursday, and then we played great. or we look terrible in warm-ups. We don't, and then we go out and play great, or we got juice. We feel good in warm-ups, and then go out there and lay an egg. I mean, I think the bottom line is you got to have your plan. You got to know your plan, and then you got to be able to adjust that plan and just play for 60 minutes. You got to just continue to play, snap after snap, doing your job. And if there are adjustments to make, you got to make them. But in the long run, you got to realize that one good play or one bad play is not going to determine the game. You got to continue to play each play for 60 minutes and do your job. And the big point that I tried to make last week is, especially the day before and the day of, is, and I think I mentioned that last week, there is no perfect call. There is no perfect anything. You got to just go play, and some things are going to work, some things aren't, but we can't let them affect us to the point like, oh, here we go again, or hey, this is going to be one of those days where we play really well. No, you got to continue to play and expect the other team to play for 60 minutes. So, I think we did that well, last Saturday. We played for 60 minutes. We haven't done that as well in some previous games.
Was last week a sign then that they're starting to understand the concepts a little bit better, or is it really because you
honed it down? No, I think the more repetitions we've had, it helps. Obviously, I think holding it down did help, but I think the more you rep things as the season goes, is the more comfortable they get, the more comfortable we as coaches are getting with our players, and players are becoming with the coaches. It just, when you walk in the door with a new coaching staff and players, we want everything to align like this day one, but it doesn't happen. We're working for things to align. And Saturday you saw a glimpse of that. Now we got to continue to work, and hopefully they align well enough for us to win on Saturday.
San Diego State's a team that generally dominates the time of possession. Does that put a little extra pressure on your offense to be efficient when they go out there, knowing that they might not get as many opportunities?
Yeah, it's very similar to last week, that we've got to be efficient on third downs like we were last week offensively. We got to be efficient in the red zone and get points. Obviously, we'd love to have touchdowns. And then, at the same time, you can't be impatient either. You can't. I got to try to get it all back in one play, or you got to stick to what you believed in coming into the game. If they continue to play what they do, and stick to that plan. But when you have an opportunity to make a play, we need to make it. And I thought we did that, last week on some running plays where we caught it against the right front, the right blitz, and we practiced that all week and we executed it for big runs, or we executed a pass the way we practiced it. Where in previous games, sometimes we get that look or that we didn't execute that play. There's always the best play call for the best blitz and coverage, but sometimes you don't get it matched up against that. Then you got to take with the defense. But when you do get it matched up, whether it's a run or a pass, you want to execute it. And we executed at a higher percentage last week.
What surprised you most about their win over Utah State? The final score, or the fact that they ran for 300 yards against that defense?
Well, no, I think nothing really surprises me on any Saturday. I think anybody can beat anybody, except maybe a handful of teams across the country. But it's conference to conference. I mean, it's guys have a chance to win on Saturday if they go out and execute their plan and things fall their way. As far as turnovers fell their way. They were +4, but they played very well defensively. They didn't allow the quarterback to get loose for Utah State. They contained him very well, and they kept giving the ball back to their offense. And so our offense was able to stay committed to their plan, which was to run the ball. And you saw the effects of that as the game went on. They basically dominated the line of scrimmage, and as the game went on, they were able to oppose their will. But I think it was everything. It was not just offensively; it was defense kept giving the ball back and kept Utah State out of the end zone, which they allowed them to play what they like to do, run the ball and play action pass.
When you look at their defense, how different is their
That's a good question. Their 5 DBs to me are like 5 quarters. Or really, the 4 DBs are like quarters, 27 and 12. Kelly and Smith and KZ 23 and Whitaker are like 4 quarters to me. Where 21 Naeem McGee is more like a safety. So that's a little bit different. Usually, you got your corners and your nickel comes in. Is like the third corner. They to me they play almost 4 corners back there. I think they call the 2 safeties Warriors and 21 the Aztec. The Aztec to me is more like a safety in the box run game, where the other guys they're going to play them when they play man. They're going to play man, and they got them. They're not afraid to let those guys play man, and they do a good job of it.
Does that make it for what Nick needs to see and read?
Well, it's a little bit different. At the end of the day, a lot of it's always based on 2 high or 1 high, or man or zone. They have a high hole player. Is the middle of the field open or is it closed? I think if we get trying to say that 12 is here, 21 is here, 54 is here, 57 is here, it might get too confusing. I think we got to treat them as, there are X's out there, and you go where the ball or the coverage dictates where the ball goes. I think that's where they get people confused is you're trying to figure out exactly who everybody is every play. I think we got to treat them as X's and, try to go against the best matchup.
Maybe have your concepts down a little bit more, because you said before they kind of needed to see it almost exactly the way they had seen it on film, scout team.
Yep.
You're probably not going to see that this week. Is this where hopefully those concepts to the point where you can...
Exactly right. Hopefully they understand a 4 vertical concept, a curl flat concept, a zone lead run concept, where, all right, it might not be exactly the way we practiced it, but hey, it's a curl flat play, it's a 4 vertical play. We gotta trust what we see and execute it.
What does having a healthy Richard do against this defense in particular? And I feel like last week was a good chance for him to.
Well, yeah, he didn't practice Monday, didn't practice Tuesday, but practiced Wednesday and Thursday, which was good to see. It's another threat for us offensively, a guy that is explosive. He's been very limited this year, but still has over 40 catches and has shown the ability to make the play when the ball's thrown to him. So it gives you another threat out there that they got to be conscious of where, if we're going to single up 82, we got to take advantage of that and see if he can make some plays. But if they double him, then we got a chance for other guys to make plays too.
More dangerous Humphreys running back with the way Price, his backup, is running behind him.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be fresh, more fresh in the fourth quarter.
Well, I think that's a great point. I think, it's hard for any, defenses are bigger, they're more physical. They hit hard. It takes its toll on a running back. And you don't see the days of Herschel and Bo and those guys where every back's going to carry it 30, 35 times a game, So I think with the other running back that they have is Chase Price. He's rushing for over 5 yards a carry. He's got 100 carries, and Humphrey's at 182. Pumphrey's at 182, but they're able to keep them fresh. They're able to roll them in there. Both of them fit their style that they do. And then that's when they wear on you. You got 2 backs, and then the fourth quarter, here comes a fresh all-conference guy, especially when they got the lead and they're playing defense as well as they are.
Are they that much different? Does your defense have to look at the run game any different with one end as opposed to the other? They're both very similar backs.
No, I think you go treat them the same. Now it is different for the type of offenses that we have been playing. It's a little more conventional, a little bit more like what we do offensively, but they haven't been practicing against that for a number of weeks. A lot of spread teams, a lot of quarterback running teams. Air Force was ground control was option last week, so it's getting back to more of the stuff that they played against us in camp, more so than what they've been practicing against since. Really the whole year since probably, Minnesota was an eye football team. But these guys do a little more than Minnesota offensively. So that's been a long time since that game. So it's a change for us defensively.
Mike, have you seen anything through the first half of this conference season that's changed any of your perceptions of the Mountain West, what it might be like? Or?
Well, I've seen initially, turn on the tape and I watched some on TV, but I know some of these coaches. I see very good coaches. I see very good defensive play. Now, this is our fourth conference game, but Utah State, Boise, Air Force, and now San Diego State, all defenses have been very, very good. They're very sound. They tackle well. They've got guys that can cover, athletic guys. And then offensively, you've seen some good skill play. I think this group right here, along with Boise, probably offensive line is up there. Got guys that are big, that have the size and can move a little bit bigger than I thought. But it's like, to me, any conference that's pretty good, and I believe the Mountain West is a very, very good conference. You got good football teams that I think it's been proven that anybody can beat anybody on Saturday because of the quality of players in this league, and you got very good coaches.
I feel like you're more that team now that your players are starting to understand that concept and have a little bit of confidence.
We'll see on Saturday. I don't know. I hope so. Players are always confident. They believe in themselves. I mean, they think they can, they're a confident bunch. We got to keep that confidence, and, winning helps that when you win a ball game. Feel like they're in a good place, but we got to realize that we can't just show up on Saturday because this is a very, very good football team that's won 4 games in a row in conference and dominated physically at the line of scrimmage on both sides. And it's going to take our best effort to have a chance to win this football game.
What was getting out on the road recruiting a little bit during the season here this past week?
I think it's always good. We're in a little bit different situation. You're kind of, you're wait and see on some guys. You're recruiting a lot broader number than what I'm used to. So it was good to get out and evaluate some of the guys and find some new guys. We're in the process of, cutting up almost 40 guys and trying to get them watched by each position coach and coordinator's got to get them watched by Wednesday night, and then we'll go through them as a staff. So you're constantly recruiting, constantly evaluating, and recruiting's a little bit easier now that you have Huddle and internet. I mean, you could tell me about a player and I could walk out of here and I could watch him and make an evaluation of him. But it's still always good to get out on the road and visibly see a guy. Move around. How big is he? What kind of length does he have? How big are his shoulders? How big is his lower body? Is he going to be able to grow? What's his body language like around his teammates? Is he a guy that his teammates respond to him? I think all that's important. Does he love football? It's one thing to see a guy on film, but I think it's another thing to see a guy interact with his teammates and see how hard he really plays and how much does he care, how does he compete. There's a lot of good football players out across the country, but I want guys that love football and love to compete, and those are the kind of guys we're looking for. So as much as we can get out is always good to evaluate.
Television exposure you have here versus where you were before hurts or helps or guys maybe not as familiar with CSU?
I think anytime you can get on TV or get exposed, I think it's great. There's a lot more exposure here than I actually thought. I mean, we got the greatest sports information director in the country, and Paul Kirk. I mean, constantly on radio and TV, and you don't turn red over there, Paul. But I think anytime you can get on TV or you're in the news, I think it's good for your university and obviously our program. And I think the more games we can win, the more opportunities we get to be on TV and hopefully get on some of these Friday night games or something where we're, because you're the only game on, and you're watching it. So I think that's good for exposure. But, I've had a lot of guys that we're recruiting, not just in Colorado, that have seen us play, because we have been on TV. And you're able to, at the beginning of the week say, hey, we're going to be on this channel, and send stuff to them and communicate when we call that week, and they watch it. I mean, I was recruiting this weekend, and it wasn't in state, and had several people come up to, hey, man, watching y'all on TV. So I think, when you get on TV, I think that's always a good thing.
Some coaches are creatures of habits. They like the whole Saturday thing because you can keep your schedule. Would you welcome Thursday, Friday night games?
Yeah, I think if it fits with our academic, calendar and what we're, trying to do here academically, I think it's good for, exposure. If you could have one or two of those, I think, you'd have, it's tough, talking to the guys that were at Alabama, Birmingham, UAB. They had several of those. They play Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, hey, today's a Wednesday practice, but, it's only Monday. You had a lot of that, and it got confusing at times. But, it is good when you get on TV. And you see Boise on TV all the time, and you're watching them, and, everybody in the country knows who they are and when they play and who some of their players are. Now, that's a lot of that's their success that they've had is why they've gotten on TV. But I think if it fits with your institution and your academic calendar, I think it's not a bad idea to have a couple of those games.
Like a Boise, they won't play 5 Friday night games in a season.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. Yeah, 5. Yeah, all late too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played on anything but we did as a player. We played on Thanksgiving one time or the day after when we used to play Georgia Tech, but that was the last game of the year. So I've never experienced it, but I do know when you're only game on TV, recruits watch it. I know I am. When I get home at night, I'm trying to find a football game on, and that's how a lot of people are. There's probably a game on this Tuesday, isn't there? Is it?
Sunbelt. Sunbelt's got Tuesday, Wednesday games now for the next month or something.
Is that what they just started like a couple weeks ago, right?
I'll do it until this stretch of the season. And then
Right. All right, guys. Thanks.
How was the getting refreshed physically?
I feel like it was a great opportunity for our team to actually get some rest, get our legs back and get in the training room. Those who need to get in the training room, just take it day by day, not really rushing anything if you are injured or if you are hurt, just actually getting the actual treatment that you need, get the actual reps to get back healthy.
Were you able to get back home?
Yes, sir. I actually did go back home.
How important is that? Just kind of that chance to see family, friends, etc. for a couple days in the middle of a season?
It kind of keeps you grounded. I would say I miss my family a lot, miss my brothers and stuff. So actually getting to see their face, knowing that you're being supported, knowing that there is love back home for you is always good to know.
Well, what's the mindset of this team now that you've got a win? Got that win over Air Force, you've got, 5 games left, and you win 3 of them, you got a chance to get to a bowl game. Is that something you guys talk about, think about?
Actually, we just focusing on winning the next game, winning 1 in a row, as Coach Bobo would say. Really focusing on what we did the week of Air Force to get the win, and just pursuing that for the rest of the games this year.
Mike was saying that they felt last week going into the Air Force game, you had a great week of practice. Everybody felt better. Could you sense practice was better, and if so, why?
Yes, sir, because everybody was actually tuned in and really focused on winning that next game and focusing on what we need to do to get better as a team. Really, as a defense, from my standpoint, we really was just kind of harping on the little things, the details of what we need to do on defense to win the next game.
Was that a real different mindset, or was it just a point that you guys now have the basics in these schemes down enough that it's easier to focus on the finer points now because the big picture stuff, maybe you understand better?
The big picture stuff wasn't really any of issue. I feel like, honestly, just the details from spring ball, falling over to fall camp, falling onto the season is what we really needed to harp on. And I feel like we did that.
I feel like you understand as a defense, not just you, but as a defense, you understand the concept of the defense better, and that you're able to play instead of having to think, you can react.
Oh, yes, sir. Of course. We made it simple, and as a defense, we really just focusing on you have to tackle, keep your eyes good, and honestly stop and run, and limit the explosive plays, and we will be fine as a defense.
Speaking of stopping the run, you faced a pretty good running back this week. Did you watch any of the San Diego State-Utah State game?
Yes, sir. I feel like he's a great back, great opportunity for us. So they're 4-0 in conference, and they do like to run the ball. And I just feel like it's a great opportunity for us to harp down this week on tackling, pursuit angles, how to make one team one-dimensional, and how to do what we need to do to get the W.
They kind of make themselves one-dimensional. They ran 60 times. I think they only threw 10 times in that game. How do you can you affect a team that wants to be one-dimensional anyway?
Actually, you just try to play them how they play you. You know, they're a pretty physical team, and they like to run the ball, so we got to be pretty physical. We got to be stout against the run.
Are you surprised at all they were able to do that against Utah State's defense, little defenses?
Not really. I feel like they're really good at what they do, and I feel like they stuck to the game plan, and that just was the outcome for them. You know, on any given Saturday, anything can happen.
How big was having a relatively good game defensively against the run? I know Air Force had 269, but that's less than they usually. How big was that just heading into a game like this?
It just really put us in the mindset of how physical we really need to be, and how sound against the run that we have to be a team that likes to run the ball 80% of the time in the game.
This is the first offense really since Minnesota that kind of just runs the ball right at you. You guys face a lot of zone read teams, and then you face Air Force. Is there any advantage for you guys playing against a team that runs that, or is it just about stopping the run?
I feel like it's honestly just about stopping the run, how you go in to the game, that mindset, how you practice that week. Did you practice downhill the whole week? Did you practice aggressively? Did you hit enough? Did you hit hard enough? Like, stuff like that just really all pertains to stopping the run, especially against a team that's physical as San Diego State and as good as San Diego State.
Do you feel like you're coming into your own at this point of the season, just as a linebacker?
Honestly, I feel like our whole linebacker core, we all have certain dimensions to ourselves that we all have a chance to show. And I feel like if any linebacker that we have was put in my position or put any other position on the field with concerning playing time, I feel like anybody would have came into their own, because just doing your job, doing your assignment.
How much did you learn of, I guess like you said, with practice better against Air Force? How much is that a habit that you really need to carry forward the rest of the season, not just this week, but moving on? Did you find a different way to practice that served you better?
We really found how to exploit the details, how, running off the field, running back onto the field, calling out things, making sure everybody communicates across the board. That's really what we harped on last week, as well as practice during the bye week, just so we could be ready and we could have our minds right for the rest of the season.
You mentioned something, maybe you went simpler. Is Tyson honed down the defense a little bit, made it a little bit simpler for you from what he introduced early on?
I feel like he paid attention to what we're good at, what our strengths are, and he just plays off of that, like what we're good at, and felt like we could be sound. If we could be sound, 100% sound in that, then we'll be fine.
Anything else? Yes, good.
That's all I had. Thanks, Deonte.
Deonte, appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed a lot of time with my mom, because my mom only get to come to about 1 or 2 games. So it's a real good time. And she actually recorded every game we played, so I got to watch a couple with her and go over some newspaper clips that I had got to send her. No, just continue to run hard, just continue to run hard and continue to try to prove everybody wrong, and continue to climb to the top.
I know you're a senior, but as a young running back, just
Yeah.
the position, do you get more motivated when you play these games against, there's going to be a running back on the other side who's pretty dang good?
Oh, yeah. I think named Pumphrey. I was talking to him. I actually talked to him on Instagram a couple days ago. Congratulated him yesterday. Congratulated him on a win against Utah State. I got a chance to watch that game. It was a great game, and it just brings out the competitiveness. Knowing you're going against a good team. Not just a good running back, a good team, but with a good running back. And our defense played exceptionally well against Air Force. So, they got a lot of confidence going right now. So, they'll be up for the challenge. And I seen that San Diego State was top 15 rush defenses, so it's always an honor and always going to get the competitive side out of you when a good team is coming in.
How important was the bye week for you in terms of just getting your legs back in under you? This is a lot of carries for you so far this year.
Especially being the type of back that I play, physical. I get a lot of contact down the field and in the backfield, stuff like that. So, me being able to rest my body a little bit is going to be good coming this long 5-game stretch. So, beginning the bye week was pretty good.
How much different was it waking up this morning as opposed to most normal
Oh yeah, when I normally wake up in the morning, it'd be something achy or some sort. But getting up these last actually 2 days, I felt good. I got right out of bed on time. Got up at 7 or 8 and just got up.
Jason, what's this team have to do kind of to build off that Air Force win and kind of keep some of that momentum going now that you've had a bye week and maybe a chance for it to fade away if you're not careful?
When the week we play Air Force, I felt like it was one of the most disciplined and most physical practices we ever had. And if we could continue to keep that up and continue to buy into what Bobo has going on, because his scheme and even the defensive scheme of what they got going on right now is really effective. And us seniors is making sure that all the young guys and everybody else continue to buy in and not give up and continue to push forward.
What's the biggest difference in the team's attitude and approach to practice? Obviously, both offense and defense said they were great weeks of practice. You guys felt more prepared than you had felt all year. What was the biggest difference?
Like I said last week, Bobo came in with a good slogan, enough talking, more playing, and instead of, going out there talking about this, talking about that, we just went out there and played. We made sure we was at the right spot at the right time because we had to be disciplined to beat that team. So we made sure we was at the right spot in the right time. Even in practice, we did everything repetitive over and over again until we got tired of it, but we knew that when we see it in the game, it'll slow down.
With their running game, San Diego State does a good job of controlling the clock, holding on to the ball. Does that put a little more pressure on you guys as an offense to be efficient, knowing you might not get as many chances as you normally do?
Not exactly, because I feel like we do the same thing. We do a good job of controlling the ball and getting guys going and controlling the clock. So it should be a good game.
What fed into the game? Practice was better. Is part of it, though, that you guys have a better understanding of the concepts? Because Mike has said the last couple of weeks he kind of pared down what the offensive game plan was. How much has that helped? How much did we see of that on Saturday?
We've seen a lot of that on Saturday, and it's an in-state rival. It's a rival game. We want the Falcon back. Us seniors, we run it real bad. It's going to be seniors' last game to ever play in that game, and that was on our back the whole game. And, we actually seen the freshmen, the sophomores, and juniors really understand, because I used to be in that same position as a junior, listening to the seniors talk about how much it meant to them. So when it was my turn, I just expressed all my emotions to the team. The seniors got up, expressed all their emotions to the team, and I just felt like it brought the best out of everybody.
But how much better do you guys feel like you know the offense now?
Oh yeah, I felt like we knew the offense. We knew the offense since camp, but we put in some things that help open up a lot of other things, and with that being implemented into our offense, we got a good rotation of guys playing and a good rotation of spreading the ball around.
Jason, obviously the emphasis is always, win one in a row. I know you guys are really focused on that, but as a senior class, what do you guys hope to accomplish this season before all is said and done?
We just hope to finish the season strong. We got 5 games left. We plan on running the table for all 5 games, and by doing that, we're gonna worry about one game at a time. And we ain't gonna try to rush it. We ain't gonna look forward to what the end of the season might hold. We ain't gonna look forward to where we can go or anything like that. We're just gonna focus on San Diego State right now and continue to try to get better.
How hard is that to do sometimes? To get a team to focus just on that week and not be looking ahead to what if we win 3 of 5, we go to a bowl game. If we win 4, we do this. If we win 5, we can do this.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but seeing that we got a team that's a lot older, it's a lot of seniors that play, a lot of seniors that start. We make sure that all the underclassmen and everybody else just worry about the next week and the next game, and don't worry about what happens at the end of the season, because we control that. Our play going to determine what happens at the end of the season, and if we worry about the end of the season, we won't be focused on what's happening this week.
Do you feel as a team you learned something from that last week of preparation that paid off that will naturally tie into how you approach this week?
Yep, because I feel like it helped our confidence. Like I said last week, Air Force was a real good team. They were 2-0 in the Mountain West, and on film they was very disciplined. They didn't have a lot of mental errors. So for us to come out and get that type of win on a team like that was boosted our confidence a lot. And fortunately, we got another good team coming in this week, and we plan on doing the same thing.
Did you get a chance to get around any old friends and stuff in Buffalo? And if so, what they think about the fact that you're now the premier running back at Colorado State when you came in as a DB a couple years ago?
I went to one of my high school football games, you know, and I remember going to our a stadium, and they acknowledged me, and it was kind of awesome. Everybody stood up and clapped, and things like that. It was just things like that that'll humble you, you know. I got to give a little prep talk to my high school football team, you know, and just tell them, you know, you cherish moments like that, because I can remember that my last game wearing East High football jersey, you know, it was very emotional. You know, I think about it every day, and I just tell them, you know, you got to live in the moment. You know, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about none of that, because I know, you know, I've been there before in situations like that. So it was kind of awesome, you know. And then I seen a lot of my friends, you know, they was real proud of me. You know, we got to watch games. You know, my mom cooked Saturday, so we all got to go to my mom's house and eat a good home meal. You know, it's hard to come out here in Fort Collins, you know, because I can't cook. So yeah, I got home to eat a good meal. No, they actually lost. Actually was 30 to zip at halftime. Yeah, it was kind of bad, but you know, it was just good to see it and get to put on a hoodie, East High hoodie again. So.
You're saying you gained weight when you went home because mom was cooking for you.
Oh yeah, I think I put on some of that weight that I lost these last couple of weeks. You know, pushing myself through practice and stuff and all these games. So I got a chance to put that weight back on, and hopefully it works out because it's a real good defense coming in. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.